The space and light art movement was West Coast's minimalist art of 1960s and 1970s. During this movement, light became the primary medium for a group of artists working in the greater Los Angeles area. These artists were focused on questioning perception rather than creating discrete objects. The artists created some of their work by directing flow of natural light, embedding artificial light within objects or architecture, and playing with light through the use of reflective, translucent, or transparent materials. The artist would create situations capable of stimulating heightened sensory awareness in the viewer. The art movement of light and space can also be called phenomenal or California minimalism. The artwork in Southern California, in comparison to San Francisco and New York, was substantial. Southern California used minimal medium versus art historical weight and heavy impasto of mid-century paintings. Some mediums for this movement included bolts of scrim, sheets of glass, buckets of resin, and open windows. This movement arose during the Cold War's space race. The point of the art was to capture the desire to transcend the physical world that had heightened anxiety from post-World War II and wake of the atomic bomb. James Turrell was one of the pioneers of the light and space art movement. With his work, he caused light to become sculptural. He created this illusion by composing bright illumination on two adjacent flat walls and crossed-cornered projections. This made the object look as if it were hanging or suspended in space. He made three-dimensional cubes or rectangular solids appear to hover between floor and ceiling. The impression that light is three-dimensional is enhanced by the fact that it seems to shift in space as the viewer moves back and forth in front of it. The viewer seems to move around a solid resonant energy. The closer the viewer gets, the more volume gives way until finally they fall into two completely flat panels of projected light. James Turrell has been quoted by saying, "In working with light, what is really important to me is to create an experience of wordless thought, to make the quality and sensation of light itself really quite tactile." Robert Irwin was an innovator of the light and space movement. He began as a painter and turned to installations as means to dispose mediums and objects altogether. This artwork is beautiful and from different angles seems to change by dimension because of the lack of defined edges and because of the use of light. Every picture that I have seen seems different, and the scale of the object is extremely big. Larry Bell is an artist that uses glass sculptures to appear ephemeral, constantly changing in response to surroundings, as well as the viewer's movement around the artwork. The sculpture is the transformation of light in response to the subject. Laddie John Dill is an artist who created and still creates custom-made blown glass tubes in jewel tone colors. Some of these installations are made up of short pieces and some long pieces. The pieces glow like beautifully strung beads. Dill called these installations light sentences. The phrase light sentences suggests that the length and difference of colors are segmented into words to form phrases or sentences, almost as if light could be its own language. The Light in Space art movement is an amazing movement that happened in Southern California. I didn't know about it until I started looking into it by chance because of one of the artists that I chose for a discussion board. I wish it was more widely talked about and discussed because it's extremely interesting how all these artists chose to use natural things like light and very minimal materials to make these beautiful artworks in California.